welcome back to my channel. I am so glad that you are here for another fun video. So today is October 6th, 2020, so that means it is Vlogtober day number 6. And our prompt from yesterday was childhood favorites animated. So I want to hear about the favorite movies that you had growing up that were Halloween related. So we'll get to that in just a couple minutes. So as per usual, we're going to start off with my song of the day. And today's song is by a fictional band, and they are called the Hex Girls. And if you have watched any amalgamation of Scooby-Doo in the last 2 decades, you know who the Hex Girls are. So I'm going to play my favorite song by them. Well, one of my favorites. I actually really enjoy all of the Hex Girl songs in the Scooby-Doo movies. So I'm going to play The Witch's Ghost, which is arguably one of my favorite live action direct-to-video movies that ever came out from Scooby-Doo. I'll get to a little bit more of that later, but let's listen to a little bit of The Witch's Ghost.
It's the witch's ghost. She's what we feel the most. It's the witch's ghost. If she catches us, we're toast. There's nothing worse than her.
So if you've seen The Witch's Ghost, you've heard this song before, but it's kind of the main theme song to that direct-to-DVD movie. So that movie came out, I think, in 1999. Let me look at my sheet. Witch's Ghost, 1999, yes. So there was a renaissance of Scooby-Doo that kind of came out in the 90s and 2000s that I'm going to, like I said, get into a little bit from now because, spoiler alert, my TV series I'm going to talk about today is Scooby-Doo in general. We're just going to have a chat about Scooby-Doo. So let's move on first, though, to my book recommendation. So today's recommendation is called The Door to Witchcraft, and it is by Tanya A. Brown, and it is this book right here. So this is another paperback that I picked up. This one I got online through Amazon. Saw an ad for it, I don't remember, through maybe Facebook, and kind of looked it up and was absolutely intrigued by it. When I was first starting to get into figuring out what I wanted my path to be, which with witchcraft, in regards to if I wanted to go a pagan or Wiccan or just straight witchcraft or just read about it because you're intrigued about it, or, you know, just kind of do your own thing. So with The Door to Witchcraft, it's very amazing because they kind of do go down all the paths that you can take to find exactly what fits you. And that's really what I love about witchcraft, is that you can kind of pick and choose what works for you. You know, there's no set rules to witchcraft. So if you believe the general, you know, the rule of 3 and things like that, I know a lot of people say the rule of 3 is kind of more towards Wiccans and things like that, but it really just boils down to your thoughts on, you know, nature and the environment and what you want to put out into the world. And I am absolutely fascinated by it, first of all. I mean, I started looking into it last year, really, I mean, thoroughly. So I'm still a baby witch at this point. I'm still learning all the things that I need to, but I feel like I'm finally going down the right path. I was born and raised Catholic, you know, went to Catholic Mass every Sunday. We went to Catholic school until my brother was born, and then we had to move because we were out of the school district. You know how that stuff is. So we moved to a public school, but I was still going to CCD. So I went to CCD up into, you know, 8th grade, got confirmed, went through all of it, you know, went through high school and even into college, considering myself Catholic. And then college came, and I realized that I was not Catholic because there were too many questions I had that Catholicism didn't answer for me. And seeing other nationalities, seeing other religious identities, it really got me thinking. And then certain things in the Catholic Church happened. Pope John Paul II passed away, and my mother was working actually for a local Catholic church, and they were quite horrendous to her. And I guess that was really the thing that turned me completely off to Catholicism, was these people that claim to be loving and caring and treating my mother the way that they did. So that was that. That was it. I was done. So I kind of was left floundering for several years, wondering what the hell do I do, And I've always been drawn to witchcraft. Even when I was a kid, we did, in Catholic school, we did a project regarding a significant event in history. And what did I choose for my significant event in history? I chose the Salem witch trials. Like, that was what I decided to do in my Catholic school. And that was it. I mean, I think that was like first grade or second grade. And here we are today, and I'm feeling very confident about my choices. Now, I don't discredit the Catholic faith, Christianity, anything like that. I do believe several things in regards to the Catholic faith, but overall, I do not feel like it is the end-all be-all like Catholics like to preach. And I am not bashing anybody. This is my personal belief. I guess I don't really know why I'm going into so much detail about it, but I guess it's important because that was my doorway into witchcraft, was trying to figure out who I was and where I fit in, because the Catholic Church was not allowing me to fit in. I didn't feel like I fit in with that group. Growing up with them, it felt like, that's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're expected to do. You go to church on Sunday, and then you come home and you do whatever you need to do. But you have to go to church. You have to do this. And I guess at the end of the day, I would rather be out in nature, walking around and talking to God or whoever's out there in that environment. I don't like being confined in a room with a bunch of people chanting the same incessant things over and over again. So I made a decision, and I'm confident with my decision. So I know a lot of people don't really understand it, and they like to poke fun of witchcraft and say that witches are fake and things like that. But witches are very real people. They believe in their faith, just like Catholics, Methodists, Lutherans, Jewish individuals, Buddhists. They all have their faith. Witches also have their own faith. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But this book has been an eye-opener, and it has treated me very well, because it's answered some questions I had some problems with, crisis of faith, crisis of just conscious in general, wondering if I'm going out in the world and I'm doing the right things. So this book helped me exponentially. So I do feel that I'm finally on the right path for me. I mean, whatever that can possibly be for somebody, I think that this is it. So I know it's not going to make everybody happy, but I hope that they can respect, other people's decisions, and we're not all going to go burn in hell because we're not studying Catholicism. So I know a lot of people who will feel that way, and that makes me very sad, because especially since those are those Catholic people that are taught, judge not lest ye be judged, and they're the ones running their mouths about, well, they're going to burn in hell. Okay, well, that's on you. That's on nobody else. So I don't have to be concerned about what anybody thinks about me, first of all. That's on me. At the end of the day, if I feel like I'm a good person and I'm doing what I need to do, then everything's great. So I'm not too sure why this turned into a PSA about witchcraft, but I'm so sorry. But yeah, I'm just kind of tired of it. I see it in the media and I see it in the news a lot, you know, people that say they're witches. Well, no, they don't say they're witches. They're witches. If they believe that they're witches, they go and practice their craft. They're witches at the end of the day. And so people are automatically have that negative connotation about witches and think that they're lunatic women that like to fly on a broomstick and wear pointy hats, and it's so much more than that. And there's not a whole lot that I could say to change your mind if you're already ignorant enough to believe that that's it about witchcraft. So if you're interested in figuring out what witchcraft is, if you're interested in just reading about it and understanding the craft in general, I highly recommend The Door to Witchcraft. So that's all else I'm going to say about that. But this book helped me a lot. So take that as you will. So let's move on to my movie recommendations for today. So I've got a couple of them. I was born in the early 80s, and so I had a lot of, you know, made-for-TV animated specials that came out. One was Raggedy Ann and Andy and the Pumpkin Who Couldn't Smile. That one was so formulative for me growing up because the pumpkin was so sad all the time because he couldn't find anybody to love him, you know? And Raggedy Ann and Andy show up and bring that pumpkin to a boy that they know will just absolutely adore him. So the pumpkin makes the boy better, the boy makes the pumpkin better. And I just always thought that was such a wonderful story about, you know, finding your people, finding who fits into your own little environment, you know, and I think that that's absolutely lovely. So first recommendation is for Raggedy Ann and Andy and the Pumpkin Who Couldn't Smile. Now this is available on YouTube. You could just Google that and you should be able to find it, no problem. I've done it several years. I have it in a couple of my playlists that I watch that are labeled, you know, Halloween essentials. So second one I want to note is Button and Rusty and the Which Witch is Which. So this is another animated special. Buttons and Rusty, I guess, did several specials over the ages. I think they started in the 70s and kind of worked into the mid 80s, but the Halloween episode of their adventures was my favorite. So they live in a park. There's a park ranger and, you know, people that live around the area that they all know, and it's just such a cute story about, you know, these thieves are trying to steal things around Halloween, and Buttons and Rusty save the day because they find the crooks. But it's so cute. I love Buttons and Rusty. Buttons is a bear and Rusty is a fox. And they are, you know, little kid animals, and they've got their parents, and they've got, you know, the ranger that they talk to and are friends with. And I just think it's so delightful. And again, that's also available on YouTube. So if you Google Buttons and Rusty, Which Witch is Which, you will find that as well. So the last one I want to talk about is actually not from the 80s. This one is from, well, there's two movies really. These came out in the 90s. I think it was 98 and 99. Let me double check. Oh, I'm sorry. It's 99 and 2000. So 1999 and 2000. And this is Alvin and the Chipmunks, actually. And it is the Alvin and the Chipmunks meet Frankenstein and meet the Wolfman. Oh my God. These were on Cartoon Network all the time. And my brother is 10 years younger than I am. So I kind of got a double dose of cartoons growing up. You know, I had my era, you know, in the 80s and early 90s that I was just in love with cartoons. And then my brother Edison, he grew up and he had his love for cartoons, and I was kind of able to milk that, you know what I mean, and really fall in love with a whole new generation of cartoons. And this one is just absolutely fabulous. So I put it on here, but it's more towards my later in life because I was a, you know, freshman and sophomore, I think, in high school when these came out. So technically they're not from my childhood per se, but they are still a part of my childhood. Like when I look back at being a kid, I can't not think of watching these two movies because they are just absolutely adorable. So if you have the opportunity, I think that these are easily found. I think they still show them on Cartoon Network, but I'm not 100% sure. I have the Boomerang app. I know that they're not on the Boomerang app yet, but they could possibly be coming for the holidays. So I will update if I find them streaming somewhere. But I mean, I got it on DVD off of Amazon a couple years ago, and they probably sell it at Walmart. So I don't think you'll have a problem. I think it was like $8.88, I think, when I Googled it for the Walmart app when I was researching for this video. So it's cheap and it's worth it because these two stories are so cute. So the Alvin and the Chipmunks Meet the Wolfman, you know, they have a Mr. Talbot in it, you know, just like the original Wolfman lore. And the Frankenstein episode, you know, it's a Frankenstein that's created at this like theme park haunted house, and it's just so, they're so cute. I love them. So check out Alvin and the Chipmunks Meet the Wolfman and Meet Frankenstein. You'll absolutely love them, I promise you. And I think that they're really short. I think they're only like, you know, 70 minutes maybe, or maybe 70, 80 minutes a piece. So they're easily watchable. Let me see. This says it's 2 hours and 35 minutes for both movies combined. So whatever that shakes out for both of them, but go check those out. So let's get to my TV recommendations. So we are going to be talking about Scooby-Doo in all of its glorious reincarnations over the decades. So Scooby-Doo started in 1969 with Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Okay, and that started in 1969 and 1970, and there were 25 episodes of that original series. So we started with that, and I have my, I think it was the like a 25th anniversary edition or something, my box set of that. So I don't have the box in there actually correct. It's supposed to look like this, so that it's just the kind of the shadow people in the back and look like that. But I like having the mystery machine out front. I think it looks kind of cute. So I store it like this. But anyway, so I have this on DVD. I also have on DVD the new Scooby-Doo movies, because those are probably my favorite series from Scooby-Doo. There were so many. So let's run down, first of all, the 14 series of Scooby-Doo so far in 2020. This is what we've got. So Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Was 1969 to 1970. The new Scooby movies was 1972 to 1973. The Scooby-Doo Show was from 1976 to 1978. The Scooby's All-Star Laugh Olympics were from 1977 to 1978. Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo was from 1979 to 1980, and then they kind of tweaked that show a bit, and they brought it back out in 15-minute increments, so they were like mini episodes in a half-hour series. So that came out from 1980 to 1982. The new Scooby and Scrappy-Doo show was 1983 to 1984. Then the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. This guy right here. I love this series so much because you guessed it, Vincent Price is in it, and you know your girl loves Vincent Price. So this was out 1985. So this and the new Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo show started my life. Like I started in 83 and worked on up. So all these other amalgamations of Scooby-Doo happened in my lifetime, but it's very funny to me to think that there were, 6 series of Scooby-Doo before I was even born. It's just crazy. But A Pup Named Scooby-Doo came out after that, and that was in 1988 to 1991, and that was such a end of the decade into the 90s show. There was an episode called Scooby-Dude where the ghost was a skateboarder, and I will always remember that episode. I don't know why, but it always made me laugh. And then What's New Scooby-Doo came out almost 2 decades later, a decade later, I guess, 2002 to 2006. And I always thought it was funny that What's New Scooby-Doo's theme song was sung by Simple Plan. if you know who that band is. They kind of came out in the early 2000s, and I saw them a lot in concert, actually. They performed at a couple different Warped Tours, and I went to Gravity Games and things like that in Cleveland, so met them. They were very nice guys, but I always thought it was great that they did the theme song for that. So Shaggy and Scooby-Doo Get a Clue premiered in 2006 to 2008. Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, 2010 to 2013. Now, let's stop and talk about Mystery Incorporated, okay? Now, when they first announced Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, I saw the animation and I was like, nope, that looks awful. I'm not even going to watch it. And then I think my brother actually watched it first, and he was like, oh no, you have to watch this series. Like, it is so good. So I caved. I watched an episode and I went, okay, this is really good, because it was self-aware. It was funny. They didn't really take themselves seriously, but it did have a more serious tone to it. There was an overlaying mystery that runs through every episode. This was really the first series you couldn't just watch at random. You had to watch it in order to really keep up with what was going on with that underlying story. So I absolutely love Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. If you have the chance to watch it, it is streaming on, I think, Netflix currently. It's also on the Boomerang app. A lot of these series are actually on the Boomerang app. That is why a 36-year-old woman who has no kids has the Boomerang app, because of all the Scooby-Doo on it. No shame. I will forever be a Scooby-Doo kid. I don't care. I am not like the ultimate fan. I don't have all the amalgamations of it. I don't have all of the movies, but I have the ones that, I grew up with, the Boo Brothers and Ghoul School and Reluctant Werewolf and Zombie Island and Witch's Ghost and Loch Ness Monster and Monsters of Mexico and, all of those movies that, like I said, those came out 1987 through about, I'd say, 2004. So I graduated high school in 2002, but I was still home quite a bit. So I was still watch TV with my brother, and he was into Scooby-Doo at that time finally. So we kind of were able to share a love for Scooby during that time period. So after that period, there's a couple that I've missed. So there was like Aloha Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo and Where's My Mummy, Pirates Ahoy, Chill Out Scooby-Doo. And then 2008 came around and The Goblin King came out. And it had Tim Curry in it. And I was like, well, I'm not missing a Scooby-Doo movie with Tim Curry in it again, because he was also in The Witch's Ghost. So had to pick that one up. And then there have been 35 direct-to-DVD Scooby-Doo movies. 35. And funnily enough, today dropped the most recent Scooby-Doo movie. So Happy Halloween Scooby-Doo came out today, October 6th, 2020. So I am so excited to see this movie. I've obviously not seen it yet, but it looks amazing. It has Elvira in it, who, can we just stop and talk about how amazing Elvira is for 2 seconds? She is iconic. She is gorgeous. She is fierce. She is everything I wanted to be as a little kid growing up, being a fan of spooky things, like she was Mecca. She was who I was aspiring to be one day. So I absolutely love Elvira, and the fact that she's finally in a Scooby-Doo movie and it's based on Halloween, because over how many episodes of Scooby-Doo and so many things regarding Scooby-Doo, there's only maybe a handful that are based actually on Halloween. And I think that it's crazy, but it's accurate. So Happy Halloween Scooby-Doo is in stores today, or you can get it on Amazon Prime or YouTube or anywhere you buy. If you stream things, you can rent them online as well. So definitely check that out. But I'm not going to go over all of the Scooby-Doo movies. I wrote out a whole big list of all the movies and everything that they've done. They had a live action version on Cartoon Network a couple years ago. They put out 2 films in that respect with like Robbie Amell and I can't remember the other character's name's Kiko something, but yeah, so they've come out with so many amalgamations of Scooby-Doo, and I gotta tell you, I just They all make me really happy. We never even got through all the final series, but Shaggy and Scooby-Doo Get a Clue came out in 2006 to 2008. Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, like I said, was 2010, 2013. Be Cool Scooby-Doo was 2015 to 2018. And currently they are doing Scooby-Doo and Guess Who. So very much like the Scooby-Doo movies, where they pair up with a famous person of the time and they solve a mystery together. So, you know, what was once Sonny and Cher and Don Knotts and the Globetrotters is now Wanda Sykes and Weird Al Yankovic and Penn Jillette. So, you know, things change, but I hope that kids, you know, 20 years from now, excuse me, that was like a weird hair, but I hope kids like 20 years from now will really love those movies the way that I love the Scooby movies, because I mean, I wasn't even alive when those were filmed, but you can see how much I love them because I own both collections of the movies. So this is the general Scooby movies that came out, and then they came out and said lost episodes, which I'm not too sure why they did that, if they just wanted to sell more things, which is probably accurate. But this one had the Sonny and Cher episode in it, and Sonny and Cher had the Curse of the Shark Monster. And if you've not seen that episode of the Scooby movies, it is the best. It is so funny. So, of course, I had to pick this up. So, Scooby-Doo, man. It's the best. And can we just talk really quick about the live action movies that were put out in the theaters back in the 2000s. So, you know, starring Freddie Prinze Jr. and Sarah Michelle Gellar and Linda Cardellini and Matthew Lillard. Matthew Lillard! Okay, I called Matthew Lillard playing Shaggy, I don't know, 6 years before they actually ever created that. When I saw him in Scream, I was like, he's got such a goofy, fun personality. I can totally see him playing Shaggy. And so when they announced that they were turning Scooby-Doo into a live-action movie, I said, if you don't get Matthew Lillard, this is gonna suck. I don't care who else is in it. If it's not Matthew Lillard, forget about it. And then they announced it was Matthew Lillard. And I said, all is right with the world. It is the way it should be. So I was so thrilled about the fact that Matthew Lillard was in the live action Scooby-Doo, and he totally nailed it. And he now does Shaggy's voice in pretty much all the new animated, you know, Scooby-Doo series. So I think it's absolutely incredible. I love Matthew Lillard so much. I have loved him since, you know, I was a kid, and I watched him in Scream and Hackers and Without a Paddle and, yeah, gosh, all these 13 Ghosts. Holy crap, man. And that reboot, that was so good. And he was a huge part in making that so good. So I guess that's all I'll say about that. But yes, definitely check out Scooby-Doo this holiday season, kids, because there's a lot of good stuff coming. And definitely go pick up Happy Halloween Scooby-Doo, because you should be able to do that right this second. As you're done watching this video, you should be able to Google the movie, and it should be right there to purchase. So, you're welcome. So let's go ahead and move on to tomorrow's prompt. So let me pull it off my board. Okay, tomorrow's prompt is creepy kiddos. So I want to hear about the creepy kids that kept you up at night. So that's what we're going to be chatting about tomorrow. So I will see you guys in the next video. Again, thank you, as always, for sticking with me and watching my goofy-ass videos. You guys make my heart real happy. And you make it fun. You make me want to keep doing this. So very much appreciated. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.